Hey everybody, it's your man Type coming to you with another true spook story. Now before I begin, I'm gonna ask that you hit that like button. Go on, subscribe to the channel, and share me with your friends and family if you feel it not robbery. Now, this story is gonna take place in the Abilene area of Orlando, Florida. But it's gonna span, I'm gonna say, over the whole 50 states of America. Well, I'm going to tell you this story with a heavy heart, by the way, as well. So I want to give you guys some trigger warnings. It's going to talk about pedos. It's going to talk about abuse of youngsters. And what can I say? This shit happened. And if don't nobody talk about it, nobody will ever will know. And I'm going to give you guys the signs to look out for that I've grown to notice over my years. And I want you guys to be vigilant as spiritualists, occultists, just concerned human beings. I want you guys to be very vigilant for these signs I'm going to give you during this video. During this story. So without further ado, let me go ahead and break on into this thing. Now, there was this Asian family that had moved into the hood. It was about 6 of them total. And these Asians, they was a close-knit community. There was a couple living in Pine Hills. There was a couple living off of Silver Star Road in Orlando. There was, I think, 2 living in the projects in Ivy Lane, one in Richmond Heights, the other in New Malibu. And probably was some more, but these are the 6 that I knew that was in this trifecta or collaboration energy. Now, although these agents' family had their own children, their own offspring, every last single one of them had began to adopt little white kids. There was one Asian family that adopted like 1 or 2 black children, but the kids didn't stay long in the household. But they would typically adopt little white children and raise these little white children in the hood. So I'm basically like, okay, cool. So growing up, I had a little white friend to play with. And I would go to their house and I would see the agents come to the door. And when they come to the door, it's like, hey, how you doing? They would be like, hey, Tyke. And they would like do kind of martial arts and just stereotypical Asian family, because they was banking on what we knew in the community them to be, even though they wasn't like that. They was professionals, doctors, dentists, lawyers. But, as kids, we would come there. We had just got through watching a kung fu movie or something along that line, and they would act the part because we'll be out there in the middle of the grass in the front yard doing martial arts and karate. And I guess that was their way to soften the blow and ease the pain or relate to the children that used to come around to play with their kids. Now, as I was saying, they would adopt these little white children and Filipino children, or however, the majority of them just would not adopt black children. 1 or 2 couples did again, I reiterate. Now, these agents, they had the sandwich shop right off of Fairville Road here in Orlando, Florida. I think the sandwich shop is still there, but I think it's a different group of Asian people that are hosting it on it now, but that sandwich shop was always there. I say this with a heavy heart, but I'm going to tell this story. Now, these Asian couples who was adopting these children, these little Caucasian kids, they were mystics among themselves. They practiced their own version of spirituality, their own version of occult practices, I should say. And they was tight knit. And some of the elders in the community would go to them and they would put herbs together and they would make tonics and potions and everything of that nature. And for all intents and purposes, though, when they made their tonics and potions and they did that alchemic thing, because Asians are the masters of alchemy, by the way. When they did their thing, man, you would feel good. Tiger balm mixed with a couple herbs rubbed on your ass, the rash go, your eczema go, then your joint pain leave. I mean, they had it going on. So a lot of people within the black community would frequent them. And this is how I began to become friends with their children, because my grandma, she would go over there and she would frequent with them, and she would they would make this oral medicine like oral gel, and my grandma, she chewed tobacco, and so sometimes she would get a toothache, and they would put this oral gel mix that they made, and she would rub it on her gums and instantly feel better, and she was like, yeah, this is the cool. So she used to drop me off over there to play with them, give us a couple dollars, and I tell you this, we always had a hot meal. I mean, for lunch, they would call us in there and they would like cook regular food. It wasn't peanut butter and jelly sandwiches and catch the water hose if you get thirsty. This was a rice, pasta, something like that cooked. So the Asian family took very good care of these little white kids that adopted and all the kids in the neighborhood who used to come over. So let's get into the whole mystical, creepy, spooky part of this shit, y'all. I just mimic a blow, like, because every time this guy would call the kids into the house to stop us from playing, when they walked past, the father would blow. And the kids had it down packed in time that they need to rush in the house. They didn't lollygag and all that stuff. It was like a breath. So he would be like, come in. Time over. Come in. And as soon as the kid heard that, I don't give a fuck if they was doing a backflip, they would have, as soon as their feet would have touched the ground, they would have rocket off into that house, 0 to 60 real quick. So as they walked past the door, he would stand out the side. He would step to the left and let them walk in, and he would blow his breath on all the adopted kids that he had. And he did it in one continuous breath. He didn't do it for every kid. It was just one. Now, I don't know if that was a timing thing. I don't know if that was a metaphysical thing, but that's what I used to witness on several occasions. So as I grew up a little bit, and they would adopt these kids around by the age of like 4, 5, 6, 7. But as the kid grew up and they began to be 9, 10, 11 years old, 12, sometime in their teens, early teens, I would still be playing with them. And I would notice like random people pulling up in very nice, expensive cars and trucks, and their own doctors and lawyers, and a lot of people of the Asian community would come and visit them. And I used to sit up there and be like, damn, what's going on? And I'm like, hey, can so-and-so come out? Can so-and-so come play? And they're like, no, type, not today. So-and-so has work. And they would like, have a good one. They would give you a lollipop or some meat on a stick that they've been grilling in it, because they always kept food grilling. And they would like send me home, and I'd walk on home and chill like that, So I decided to sneak over to their house one day, and I went to the window because one of the kids they had adopted was a white girl and her brother. And so I'm sneaking over there, and they didn't have a dog, so I jumped the gate. I'm hitting the back room, and I had just got tall enough to look over the window, and I'd be on my tiptoes, and we'd be talking through the window. and everything like that. So as I'm talking through the window, I'm talking to the girl, I see the Asian guy, coming. I duck down and I can hear it because the window is cracked. And he was like, "Hey, Daniel, come here." And Daniel say, "Okay." And very obedient. They have raised him to be very obedient. So Daniel goes to him. He says, "Change your clothes. Put it on white." And Daniel goes in the closet and he puts on the little outfit that was pre-prepped for him. Put on white socks, white socks, white pajama set, and he covered his head with a white hat, like a baker's hat. And Daniel would walk out of there and they would close the door. And I heard the guy lock the door when he closed it, so it had to be a lock on the reverse side. I didn't know that at the time, but now that I'm thinking, I see how it was. So as I'm talking to her through the window and shit, and we're like, "Yeah, you're gonna be cute, you're gonna be my girlfriend, yada yada yada, da 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 da." I hear a lot of music get to playing, but this is very instrumental music, not drums. It's more like a violin style energy. And I'm hearing it, and I say, "Oh shit, I gotta pee." So I, go around the corner and I piss on the side of their house, but there was another window there and they had some blinds, and the blinds was cracked. So I see the little white kid, Daniel, like massaging, giving a full pressed fucking body massage to this very sickly looking old Asian guy. And he was grinding. The little boy was just kneading the fuck out of, like kneading dough. And the guy was just like, "Oh," why the wife of the guy was just fanning some kind of smoke over the body while he's doing it. And all of them had on masks, and this was pre-COVID, so but all of them had on masks, and they was fanning the feathers all over. And the guy was like, "Oh, oh," as the little white kid Daniel massaging the fuck out of this man, massaging his joints, getting his pains. I mean, all around his stomach and on his kneecaps. I mean, I was captivated. So I was there for like 5-10 minutes, but this guy gave him a whole full body massage. Now I said, "Well, this is too much." So I went back to the window and I'm finna tell old girl, I'm finna get the fuck out of here. I gotta get home. But when I looked through the window, she was sitting on the edge of the bed in her all white pajamas, just like her brother Daniel. And it's like she was waiting. So I whispered in there and I said, "Hey, I gotta go." And I said, I'm out of here. I'll come see you another time." And she like, "Okay," but she didn't like say okay. She just waved me off. So I left. So I'm like, damn. I said, "Why is that kid touching that grown person?" And it always stuck with me. So I never told anybody about it. And then when we went outside to play, she would be like, "Oh yeah, I got work to do." And this little white kid was very happy for it, very happy to do this. So grandma drops me off and I say, "Hey grandma," I say, "those kids are putting on pajamas and they are like massaging people." I say, "Is it possible, I can learn how to massage?" And grandma stopped the car real quick. I mean, brake that she hit that Buick. The brakes hit so hard I did, because I didn't have a seatbelt. My chest hit the motherfucking dashboard of the goddamn passenger seat car. And just like in a movie, I hit that bitch with my chest and I just bounced back in the seat and slid on the damn floorboard. She, "Get your ass up, nigga." I say, and I'm looking at her like, "What did I do? Did I curse?" She's like, "You telling me they doing what to them babies?" I say, "Grandma," I say, I seen the kids giving them a massage." I say, "Ain't nothing wrong with that, is it? They just like massaging people. They got little hands. I'm pretty sure they can get into the nooks and crevices of the people's fat cells and shit." And she say, "Don't tell me that. Don't tell me why I'm doing that. Don't tell me that." I say, "I ain't tell you nothing, Grandma." I say, "I just want to know, can I learn to massage people?" She like slapped me in the back of the head. She say, "Don't you ever put your hands on no random stranger to massage nothing." She said that's how you end up with gout and arthritis and all the other health issues. So don't you ever in your motherfucking life talking about massaging a bitch, getting all they pain out of them. And she said, I'm gonna talk to Juan. I'm gonna see if that's what the fuck he doing. So grandma never said nothing. So when grandma dropped me off the place, she like, don't you go in that motherfucking house. You stay your ass outside. Don't even eat no more. You play with these kids. So grandma bought her Tiger Balm and all that shit from, and so I never went inside their house again, and I never ate from them. They were offer. I'd be like, I'm okay. And then they're like, okay, no rush, no problem. That's it. So about 3-4 months passed by. Grandma still purchasing her little Tiger Balm and shit or whatever she got to put on her tooth because she had developed a bad cavity, and that was the only thing that was nullifying it, and she saved money at the dentist. So one day, grandma pulls up to pick me up. I think grandma had a day off work. She pulls me up to pick me up, and she saw Juan, Mr. Juan, and his wife. They was just sitting on the porch watching us play in the yard, crossing their legs, drinking and eating. And so grandma pull up and she say, hey Juan, come here. And he walks out there, I got you. And he do his little quick bow, shake hands. And he like, what are you doing with them babies in there? This is what grandma said, what are you doing with them babies? And he said, oh, in our culture, we teach our kids how to massage the elders and the seniors to help get rid of their aches, joints, and pains. So being that my grandma is a practitioner of Southern folk magic, straight from the island of Barbados and shit like that, South Florida, grandma stuck her foot in their business. I'm gonna just be G. And grandma never liked them for a while after this. So grandma told him, so you know where I come from, that's transfer magic. So grandma said, what are you doing to get that energy up off of those children when they massaging these sick people? He said, no energy get transferred. Say kids have abundant energy like battery. They pump good energy into us and we don't hurt no more. So grandma sat him and the wife down and explained to them, what they was doing wrong. So grandma said, well, I don't like what you're doing. Please don't ever do that shit to my grandson or else you're gonna have problems with me. They like, no, black man can't do it. Black man can't do it. Say black man talk to spirits, ancestors. That's what they for. White kids, they have nothing. They have nothing and they can do it. They can take pain and then we feel better. They are supposed to take care of us. I kid you not, people. I'm hearing this conversation. So grandma was like, well, I don't know about abusing no white children. All children are babies in the eyes of God, and I love them all. He said, not abuse. It's their job. It's their mission. And that was the only time I seen him raise his voice at my grandma. And his wife come down and she started speaking, I'm going to say Cantonese, because I don't know what it is. I'm just paraphrasing. I don't know. Well, she started speaking their native tongue. And then she gets in front of my grandma and she started waving her finger in her head. And grandma like, okay, bitch, I am not the one. And grandma told her, bitch, I ain't the one. And she say, Juan, you better get your old motherfucking bitch before I end up killing her ass. Say, man, you cool? And I think grandma used to work with him or he was a dentist or something, however. Man, you cool? We gonna see each other at the office. But if that bitch put her finger in my face again, say that bitch won't have a head. And then he told her, go back. This is a Gunju good people, a Gunju powerful. They were saying all that type of stuff. So, well, she don't tell us how to run our business. And he was like, this not business. He was like, this not business. This is medicine. This is healing. So I guess he had to walk up there and calm his wife down and all that shit. So, things were status quo. I stopped going over there less and less because grandma didn't trust him no more. So about 2-3 years passed and they've been doing this for a while. And let me tell you, I'm seeing dignitaries, I'm seeing fly Lincolns, I'm seeing Lexus, Toyotas, I'm seeing some fly ass cars pull up. And these people was letting these kids service and take the kinks out of all these Asians and rich white people in the community, but they wouldn't adopt the black kids to do it. So one time when the couple did adopt a black kid, because grandma was friends with the whole community, so she goes to find another one because she didn't want to deal with Mr. Wan no more. She went to another one, and he had a black kid that he adopted in the family. So now he had the black kid doing the same thing to, white clients and Asian clients who would come to him. So grandma reliving what Mr. Wan said and was like, hey, I thought black kids weren't supposed to do this. And he was like, black people got spiritual power beyond measure. They know how to talk to the spirit. They talk to the spirit and massage health, poison, bad spirits, everything out. I don't just take them to take energy. They take the spirit that caused the energy out of people. I love kids. I love them, and I make them exercise. I feed them good nutrition, and I make sure they have the best. They happy here with me. And he was stern in that shit, and grandma looked around. He said, Agunju, I love children. I understand. Them other ones, they mean, they hurt. The kid grow up and the kid have no brain. The kid grow up and the kid have no health. The kid heart fail at 18, 19. Say, no, not the black kid. The black kid touch, you heal. The black kid get the energy out, and I have the black kid go and touch the soil, the dirt, and they dump it in the dirt and the plants grow. Look at my garden. And the kids eat that. We eat that. And grandma was like, oh, okay. And grandma was kind of leery, but she was cool with it. So then he said, I got carrots for you. I got potatoes and tomatoes for you. Corn will be here soon. And he packs up all this stuff for grandma. And grandma take the basket because grandma understand. But grandma took the basket not to eat the vegetables. And y'all listen to me good, people. Grandma took the bag, took the vegetables, and she went home, and me and her placed all of these veggies on her altars, and grandma was lighting white candles along with the rainbow candle, the one for Oya, the multicolored 7 African power candles. And she anointed them, and she, on every altar she had in her house, even the altar of Jesus Christ she kept by the front door, she would pray for these children that they would be safe and happy. And it never sat right with her, but she really didn't get involved in this one. So a little time passed, and we older now, 13, 14. I'm going around there to see, can I talk to my little friend and shit. I got a little Lynx bus pass. I can get on the bus and go different ones. And again, this was the Asian community within the Pine Hills area. Every last single one of them had adopted a child, either a white child, and only 1 or 2 adopted black children. But they kept it white. They didn't adopt any Hispanics, any Native American Indian. This was the culture, people. So I would go over there, and as I go over there, I see the girl. She's 14. She getting thick as fuck. I mean, white girl had hips, ass, tits. She was just so developed to be like a 14, 15-year-old girl. Now, as I'm witnessing this, here we go. There was this really fat Asian dude who used to come over there, and she would massage him. Because you could request either one of these kids, and they had like 3 or 4 adopted white children in their house. I'm just talking about the 2 that I interacted with on the most. So this guy, he was really fat, and she would massage him, and he would be on the table just crying, and she would talk about it. She was like, I have an appointment to do a massage, and yada, yada, yada. And so when I seen the guy, he was looking fucking amazing. When I say he was looking amazing, this guy had to drop at least 80 pounds in the course of like 2-3 years. The skin wasn't loose, it was tight. I mean, she would give him, and he was looking fucking amazing, people. This Asian dude wasn't none, I mean, just well-built chin line. She would touch every part of this man's body. And let me reiterate, I don't see no sexual abuse going on with this here. I don't know what happened after that, but this is just transfer magic from what I'm viewing. I don't want to put nobody in a bad light and speculate. I'm telling what I know to be true. So the guy would come over there and he would sit on the porch with the girl and they would talk. And when he come, they would like, "Tyke, go home." And I'm like, okay. And so I would be, walking back to get on the city bus. And I would see her sit up there and he would sit next to her and he would give her bags of gifts and stuff. And she would open them up and then she would smile and he would give her a hug. And then they would go inside the house and that was that. That's as far as my vision memory can see. So on the outside looking in, it can see that something could be going on in a, pedo style energy. So now I'm sitting up there trying to screw the girl. I'm 15 now. Girl thick as shit. I'm sitting up there trying to, get in her pants. So I go to her and I go over there and she's outside and they never let her leave the house by herself. She always either in the house or the porch. She could come to the mailbox or the street, whatever, but she never got to walk to the store, candy lady by herself. Somebody would always go with her or they would drive her. So I go out there and I'm talking to her and I'm like, "Damn girl, you thick. And her brother, he had developed like a lot of health issues because he was typically massaging men and women. And she was like, "Oh, my brother's bone is so weak. He broke his hip. I can't leave him." Because I'm like, ain't nobody home. Let's just float to the candy lady. It was a set of woods around the corner. So I'm trying to get up there to get a kiss from her, hug from her, feel on her, whatever, dry hunt you. Don't matter. I'm just trying because she will fly. And she couldn't leave. She didn't want to leave. So this boy is 16, 17 years old. Her brother, she was very healthy. She developed all the fat, the thick, the juices. For a white girl, this motherfucker looked like she could run. She was that bad, But her brother, he was like 1 or 2 years older than her. He was like really, really fucking sickly. He was sitting on the porch coughing almost like he had tuberculosis. And he was just sitting up there, it was just bad off. He was thin. You can see the veins in his head by his eye on the skull. So that was just like inebriation in my mind. So she would be there. She would make sure when he cried, she would get him some water and everything. And by the time that kid turned 17 years old, he had passed away. And they say he passed away from complication, natural causes, or they put it on the mother. Maybe she was doing crack while she had him. They spent the tale. But a lot of people were still going. So when he passed away, they would be sad and they would get another adopted kid, starting them off young, raising them, and all that stuff. But the girl, she would just massage the men. So I told Grandma, I said, Daniel passed away. And she said, the little white boy, the little cute white boy, said he was going to be a heartthrob in the hood if he ever grew up. Them women were going to go crazy over him. I said, yeah, man. I said, they had his funeral last Saturday. And she said, who got the body? And she said, who got the body? Mitchell? I said, no. I said, Mitchell didn't get it. I said, I think Baldwin them got it. And she said, oh, I know Mr. Baldwin them. So Grandma, do her investigation, she drive down Colonial, or I think it was in Colonial. I think they moved to Winter Garden now. But she drive down East Colonial and shit, and she go up there to him and she say, the little white boy funeral y'all just did, so-and-so, such and such. And like, yeah. They say, what went on with him? And she talked to the medical examiner, coroner, I don't know what they call the people inside, morticians. She talked to the mortician, and they say the boy had listen to me now, rapid organ failure and rapid osteoporosis set in so quick. Say it's like his bones was becoming brittle like glass as every day. And Grandma like, what can cause some shit like this? And they was like, probably drinking radiated food, like eating radiation, tainted food, or just like shit that they just say a high dose of radiation. We'll say it like that. And ain't nobody had no radiation around there. Ain't nobody had no plutonium or no shit like that. That was made up mythical shit. So grandma start putting two and two together. If that baby developed all of those issues with its blood and health and bone brittle, women the one that get osteoporosis on a wider scale. But why is this young boy 17, 18 years old developing osteoporosis and passing away from hemorrhaging other organs and shit? I'm telling you some real shit, people. So grandma didn't like that shit. So that didn't sit right with grandma. But keep in mind, the Asians had their own community, and grandma would only deal with the Asian who, she stopped dealing with Mr. Wong, and she told me not to go back over there. So grandma would deal with the other Asian guy who adopted the black. And so she go over there and she talked to him, and they sit down, they have tea and coffee and shit. And she said she never go in the house. She always on the porch. So he was like, sad what happened to kids. Sad what happened to kids. They are wrong, they are evil, they are bad. They do wrong with this. Our culture, we know how to do this. They do wrong, they do for profit. I do for God and health and people. And kid grow up, no pain. Look at my two kids now. They have no pain. They are healthy. They are good. I love kids. They wrong. And he just went blaring off. So grandma and him cried. I'm sitting in the car, and by then I had got me a little cell phone, and it was very in its early stage of phone ship. So I think I was playing like Tetris on the phone or some shit. So I see grandma with tears in her eyes, and he was like, Agunju, cry. God got plans for them. They feel wrath when they come back. They come back as a dog. They come back as a turtle or a snake, and they drown themselves. And he was hugging grandma and stuff like this. And so grandma said, do you mind if I check on the kids? So he like, no mind. So he calls the kids out there, and let me tell you, because I never played with them. These black kids, when they came out of his house, they wore glasses. They was all muscular built. The two boys, the girl, they was solid, healthy, beautiful specimens of children. He say problem with what they don't do to the white kids. They don't put them in the garden. They don't give energy back to earth. Earth loves negative energy to create positive energy. We grow food, fruits, vegetables. He said, I got vegetables for you. So now grandma goes and she takes the vegetables and she put it on her garden and on her altar and all that stuff. And she's sad. Now I'm looking at my grandma. My grandma normally would bitch out, curse out, shoot up. Grandma was really hurt behind this. So one day grandma goes down there to Department of Children and Family, the agency, and she tells them, hey, I think you need to look into this. I think you need to look into something. So when they go to the agency, they was like, yeah, we know about the kid passing away. Yeah, he had pre-existing health conditions. And Dr. Wan, and I'm just making up the name Dr. Wan, so please don't go up there and try to look for a Dr. Wan and y'all hate this man in Orlando, Florida. I'm just making up the name, so I'm going to put that bitch in this story. Not all Asians was doing this, just these 6 or 7 family. My grandma took me to their house back in the day. And neither one of them was named Dr. Wan or Wan. I'm making that shit up because I really don't want nobody coming for me. I didn't even want to tell this motherfucking story because people get in their fucking feelings. And it's a story that's some shit that happened for real. But you throw a race or a culture in the bitch and it's like, oh, you fucking up. But I digress. So his name wasn't Juan, but so grandma goes over there to the Children and Family. That's when it was on Old Winter Garden Road across from the Caribbean Food Mart. And they say, hey, grandma say, hey, I want to report abuse. And they like, what type of abuse? And they were like, well, I think these people are mistreating these kids. So grandma explained to him what was going on, and as humble as she can. And they was like, oh yeah, they told us they would be teaching the kids how to become masseuse because they're gonna open up their Asian parlors and they were gonna work in the family business. And I think that's good that they were gonna give them industry, these adopted kids. They would have something to look up. This is what the lady was saying. So grandma can't say, hey, they're up there writing sigils on these kids, having the kids do transfer magic. So she would have came off as a lunatic or some crazy shit. So grandma just always cried in her heart about that. So after all that done, the kids grow up and they start adopting more kids. So grandmother went to the guy who had adopted the black children. And she was like, I don't agree with what you're doing. She stated her opinion. She said, I don't agree with what you're doing, but we got to stop these people from killing these white kids like that, for hurting these little Caucasian children. And he said, I agree, but I'm in that community. And if I go against that community, the black community don't look out for me. The white community don't look out for me. Spanish don't look out for me. Mexicans don't look out for me. Asians look out for Asians. So we shut up and we do what we told. And he was adamant. So so grandma said, I can understand how that worked. So he said, now you can do what you do. And he's like, what you mean? I got tape. I got camcorder. I got camcorder of them talking about it. If you want tape, I give you. You do what you want. And grandma was like, okay. So he brought the smallest motherfucking VHS tape I ever seen in my life. That bitch was small, y'all. And grandma sat on that and she put it in her Bible. I think she used Psalms 140 or 144. Don't quote me. She sat it up there and she put she put the tape on Psalms 140 or 144. She put a dove's feather, a quail or a dove's feather, the gray birds, not the pigeons though. She put that in the Bible and she closed the Bible up and she sat the Bible at the foot of her bed on the little stool she had right there. And she prayed for like 2-3 weeks what to do. So lo and behold, that footage got in the hands of the news. Yeah, this story was pretty big. I don't think the internet was popping so hard back then that they got an archive, but it got in the hands of the news here in Orlando. And a lot of Asians was put on the list for it. Now, there was a big activist thing, and a lot of Asians, like, they don't agree with that because, you know, when the Asians come over here, their religion requires them not to hurt children. They're all for peace, tranquility, Buddha, you know, all that stuff. They're Buddhists and Shinto, if you're in the Japanese. I mean, their religion is all about harm none and just live, exist, coexist. But there was a few select that was into occult practices that was doing this to those children. Now, this episode, I never seen grandma so calm. But deep in my mind, I think grandma had a real life fear of the Asian community and what they was doing with their magic. And grandma always said, I'm not gonna go to their shops anymore. Not in general, like she not boycotting all Asians. She said, I'm not gonna go to the shop where the people owned it, and she stopped going to get these subs, and they make great subs. She say, I'm not gonna deal with what's going on with these people. And she say, I'm just gonna avoid these families I know. And grandma never dealt with them. Even when the kids grew up, became doctors and lawyers themselves, or became productive members of society. These are the three black kids that her Asian friend that she was friends with until the day she died. She never went around there, and she kind of like put that shit out of her mind. She said she did all she can do, and she delivered the tape. But I know I could say that was a heavy burden my grandma had to leave on her heart, because that community was so closed off in a unit unto itself. She she didn't get involved like she wanted to. Now that's sad, people. That's really sad. And I wish this story could have been fun with a little comedy in it, but I'm sorry. This is what happened from my memory, me and grandma talking. And although she would take the fruits and the vegetables that her Asian friend would give her from where the kids would grind their energy into the dirt and dump the negative shit that they got from the other people in the soil, run around and play, feed Mother Earth back. She lit those candles and prayed for them, but she always felt bad because she hated abusive children. And I'm going to leave it right there. I want to say something before I get out of here, because I know I use the word Asians a lot in here. I just want to say, I don't know what goes on in the Asian community around the world. And please don't take this as I'm saying Asians are bad people or they got shitty magic or anything. I'm talking about the 6 to 7 families that I personally experienced here in Central Florida, Orlando area. I know what they was into, those specific 6 to 7 families. I know. I heard, I seen. So please don't use this story as something to demonize the Asian race. Please. I'm not saying that. I'm just giving you guys my true take on what I saw growing up and how my grandma handled it. So I keep in mind, I love everybody. There's good and bad in all cultures. But in this time, these 7 predominant families in Orlando was fucking bad. And I'm going to leave it right there. Everybody, I'm tight. Telling you guys, be careful. Love one another. And watch out for the children, people. Watch out for the fucking children. They have nobody to fight for them or advocate for them. So watch out for them. Y'all be blessed.